The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel and podcast, and we are back with a match reaction. It feels like a lifetime ago since Newcastle United played a Premier League game, but we go into the first Premier League game as cup winners. I'm just going to keep saying this throughout. But Newcastle United welcomed Brentford to St James's Park, and I think optimism was through the roof as a fan base. I didn't see anybody suggest that Newcastle would be on the side of a losing team, and it certainly panned out that way. Well, the opposite that way, sorry. So Newcastle United go head-to-head with Brentford. I am your host, Chris, joined by Scott, Nickel, and we have Ben making his debut to the Gallagher Shots podcast. So, boys, we're just going to dive straight in with Scott. Unchanged team for Eddie Howe. I think everybody was expecting that, and there wasn't really much option, but even if there was options, I don't think Eddie Howe would have changed that winning side that won the cup and brought it home, Scott. So the game starts, Scott, and Newcastle United start off pretty well. You kind of saw the Brentford game plan from the start, because you know Newcastle struggle against teams that tend to sit with a low block. And I thought Brentford, not necessarily a low block as you see when teams fighting relegation come to St James's Park, but you could tell they weren't very optimistic at taking the game towards us. They were letting us settle into the game and probably giving us a bit too much of the ball, because we looked pretty good at the start of that one.
Yeah, we did. You could see their game plan was absorb as much as possible and try and get on the counter-attack, but I don't think we even give them a chance to do that at the beginning of the game. I think they showed a stat about 30 minutes in where I think they had a couple of shots but not on target, and I mean, we weren't much better in terms of shots on target by that point, but we had a few shots. But yeah, it was weird because the commentators were saying they were struggling to win at home at the start of the season, winning loads of away games, and then it was the vice versa, and you'd expect Brentford to come through. And obviously, we saw what happened earlier in the season in the league when we played them in the beat, but then in the cup, you know, we turned it around and we beat them. So it was 1-1 in that regard. So you didn't really know what to expect from them. You didn't know if the players from our side would be, you know, I don't want to say hungover because they weren't allowed to drink at the weekend, but you would expect maybe it's a bit of an adrenaline dump, or, you know, maybe something would happen where there'd just be, I don't know, something was maybe kicking with the come back down to earth because they're playing in the Premier League and it's all kind of over, if you know what I mean. Like the Sunday was the end, or Saturday was the end of it, and they just have to get back to like that day job almost. It was weird, but it didn't. We just kept going the way we'd kind of left at Liverpool, on the front foot, attacking football, playing some nice football as well. There was some really nice kind of strings passes going together. And you could arguably say we should have had a few goals in that first half hour of the game, because there were some nice chances that we just didn't convert.
I think that's what struggled on the game. And I think it's right saying that the players, let's remember the last game was that game at Wembley. Then a lot of the players jetted off to international duty. Then obviously the rest of them went to Dubai on the drink, by the looks of it. But I'm not sure where you sit in the ground, Ben. But do you know what it is? I think to a certain degree, I wouldn't say players were, like Scott said, some of them may have been hungover, or expecting players to be hungover from that one. I don't think that was the case, but there was a couple of players that were very sloppy at times, and I don't want to jump on players back, so that's what I'm doing. But I think there was a couple of players sloppy. I thought Bruno was on hitting a lot of passes. Bruno was trying a bit too hard at times, and the same I want to say about Isak. Isak was getting in great chances. Then he put about 5 defenders on the backside throughout that game, but he was just trying that little bit extra when, and there was one point later on in the first half, it was just before he scored his goal, to be fair, Joe Linton was screaming at him for not having a shot, because he just kept on going back and back and back and trying to take another player on. He got his shot away in the end, but I think it might have been the one where he dinks it over to Barnes. and Barnes puts the ball in the back of the net, and that's when Joe Linton goes wild at him. And yes, I would say a couple of players, they didn't have off days, but you could tell that they weren't at the top of their game.
No, yeah, I fit in Boy in 92, so I'm right on the side. Taking out what you said, really, I thought Bruno was off yesterday. Just wasn't going for him. I thought Joe Linton was putting the graft in like he always does, but it looked like he was carrying a bit of a knock as well. Came back from Brazil. He didn't have 2 great games away from Brazil as well. He got panned a little bit over there. And I love Joe Linton. I think he looked a little bit off the pace. And as well as they did, like Trippier and stuff, I thought were different class. I thought Kieran Trippier yesterday was brilliant. He literally picked up exactly where he did from the final. Isak, it's funny because I was saying this, the lad that sits next to us, he probably had his worst game I can remember for a long time for Newcastle, but he still scored. And he still got into probably 3 really good chances. Like Scott was saying,
how good of a player he is, isn't he? When we're saying he has a bad game, and he's probably still getting a 7 out of 10. Yeah,
exactly. And I think I read somewhere a few places are giving man the match yesterday, which I couldn't understand. Probably scored, and he's a big name, I guess. But yeah, like the chance when he went through a couple of times in the first and second half. Harvey Barnes, I know you're saying Joe Linton, Harvey Barnes was going absolutely apoplectic with him. He was fuming when he didn't pass that ball. I mean, to be fair, I don't think he had to pass it. He just had to put the ball in the back of the net. But he's just like, I don't know, he was a bit like Maxi in the day where he'd want to beat his man about 3 times. And then I don't actually think he crossed the Barnes. I think it was a shot, hit the defender's leg, but it just went into Barnes' direction. Like there was one way he was offside the first half when he went through 1-on-1. And the linesman put his flag up, and he hit it straight at the keeper as well. Harvey Barnes going a little bit on the second half, put a great ball into him, came right across his body. All he had to do was take a touch and put his foot through it. And again, chance just went. But then I heard Howe after the game saying he's still struggling with his groin. So I don't know if that played a part into it a little bit. I thought Jacob Murphy, again, didn't think he was really on it. But again, he's got another assist. I think I was reading beforehand, that's 14 goal contributions he's got this season, which... There's no way I'd have thought you'd have done that. You said that was the start of the year. So now there was a few players who seemed bang on it and continued, like Trips, Tonali. They were different class. I thought Dan Burn was brilliant as well. But then there's a few players just weren't concentrating. Pope for the goal as well. You know, we've got an show coming later on. But again, not really focusing. Not really focusing. That was an error as well. So it was a funny old game. I found it a really funny game yesterday because in some ways I thought we weren't really on it. But another game, like half time, it could have been 3-0 up.
Yeah, like Scott mentioned earlier, Nickel, that we had so many opportunities in that first half, and it was either that final ball or basically a shot on target that we're struggling with. Murphy had a great chance, he absolutely skies it at one point. But there's a few other moments. But Newcastle United, just like we did at Wembley, was score at the most perfect time that you can score a goal. It was like the 47th minute. It was literally the last kick of the game, and it's Isak getting his name on the score sheet again.
Yeah, well, as Ben's just said, he'd had a couple of chances where he should have done a little bit better, but Murphy puts in a brilliant ball. I thought Murphy didn't have the best of halves again, but he's got a goal contribution and another assist, and Isak just sticks it in. Pretty routine finish for him, I guess.
It's such a strange partnership that we're seeing at the moment with Murphy and Isak, because so many times this season we'll give Murphy credit when it's due. Of course, we'll have when he has great games. But then, just like we're saying there, like Isak didn't have the best game, but he still comes out with a 7 out of 10. But then you flip it around and you see Jacob Murphy doesn't have the best games, and he hasn't done for probably a long time, apart from the Wembley game. He hasn't for a few matches. But he's still getting the contributions like Ben mentioned, and the partnership between Isak and Jacob Murphy. And I think Murphy shared it on his social medias on Instagram earlier today. It's phenomenal, that partnership.
I think the thing that helps is that Murphy sometimes just whips the ball in without even looking or thinking, just hoping that he's there. And he is normally there, to be fair, because he's one of the best striker in the world at the minute. So yeah, I thought actually that the ref was going to blow up when we were attacking on that last one, because he'd already added a minute on, and we were getting into sort of the second minute. But yeah, I thought he was going to do what he did against, I think it was Liverpool, when we were through, and he blew the whistle. I thought that was going to be another. It was going to be another one of them. But yeah, great way to end the first half, which was in truth a little bit flat, I thought, to be honest. I think the crowd was trying to get it going, like near where we sit in the corner, but it was still relatively flat for what I expected, I would say, last night. But I think that's probably reflective of the performance as well. I mean, there wasn't that much shout about in that first half, really.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Do you know what it is? I think it's a great result, and we'll go on later on and mention how good of a result it was. But obviously half time comes, Scott. Then we'll come out and it looks a bit flat when we first come out after half time. It looks like Brentford are there and they're taking control of the game. And they're certainly open a gear from what we saw in the first half. It wasn't so defensive from their reports. But I think really the only main talking point, apart from one of the best goals you'll ever see in your life, is the Nick Pope's decision when he comes out and tries. It's weird. I don't even know how to explain it, because it's weird, because from my angle, I'm in the strawberry corner, just on the strawberry corner. Yep. So from my angle, I can just see it, obviously from Pope's point of view, and I've not seen it back, but it looks like he wraps his arm around the player to try and reach the ball. And it's weird. It's weird. Obviously, Scott, you would have seen it on TV, being in Amsterdam. Right. Explain that to us. What has happened there? What is he doing?
It's almost as if Wissa's just too fast for him, and he doesn't see him coming, and he's come for the ball, and without even thinking about it, Wissa's then immediately in front of him, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to foul you now because I'm dedicated to this." But it's a honking decision from Pope, because the ball's going nowhere, and if he just stands his ground, Wissa can't do much with it other than play it out again. But yeah, I mean, the goal was coming. Like, they started to play some nice football. They had a few chances. They were getting the ball a lot in our box. You could just see it happening, and you start to think, "Oh God, this is it. Like, this is it's just gonna happen. They're gonna just, get the equalizer." And you actually thought from that point, when they did get the goal, they're gonna get another one pretty quickly, because we
had a great chance afterwards.
Yeah, they did. The other thing that was a really poor decision, and you wouldn't have seen this obviously being in the ground, but on the TV before the penalty, they showed Burmo's last 5 penalties, and they were all to the right. So I don't know what Pope's thinking about diving to the left for that penalty, but like every single penalty that Burno took was to the right. So, he's obviously just guessed or thought, "Oh well, maybe he'll go to the left for this one," but nah, he put it in exactly the same spot for this one. So he hasn't done his homework there. Maybe he obviously wasn't expecting to get a penalty against him or something, but he should maybe have had it written on a water bottle like some keepers do. But
I think
nice.
So go to the next chance, and Bennett comes straight after we make the double sub, because Isak goes over the bench and he doesn't look happy. Isak, he doesn't look comfortable, he hadn't done for a couple of minutes before that. And it is double sub with Murphy and Isak that go off. They're replaced by Willock and Callum Wilson. Yeah. And I think it must be about a minute or so after that they get that chance where Nick Pope is it's not his fault, mind, but he's so flat-footed. He just looks to his right, expecting the ball to nestle in the back of the net, then it hits off the inside of the woodwork and comes back to him in the 6-yard box, if I remember right. And we'll get off with that one, because we just really struggled to get back into it after conceding.
Yeah, it was getting flashbacks like the Fulham game and stuff, where we've seen that a few times this year at home, where we take the lead, we get pegged back, and then it just seems like a bit of a crisis of confidence and stuff, and we'll go to bits. And then I was thinking, you think Isak's went off, so you think, your threat's gone on the break with pace and stuff as well. And to be honest, at that point, I was starting to get a bit worried, thinking, I can only see this going one way, if I'm honest. I think it was Piddick who hit inside the post. I thought he'd scored all day, to be honest. And you're thinking, what now, really? Where's the chance going to come from? We lost control in the game. Didn't really look like we were going to kick on, but you just hoping Bruno and stuff would get his foot on the ball. Tonali just get in the game again and try to go from there. Bro Wilson on, which he's gone.
I think that's what we're looking for. I think sometimes from the back, and there was a few players that you can really pinpoint for this one. It looked like we kept on trying to lift the ball over the fullbacks every single time, and the fullbacks were mopping it up every single time, just knocking it back, just heading it back to somebody in the centre of the field. And you were hoping, like you mentioned, Bruno was going to basically just take the game by the scruff of the neck and say, right, I'm going to drag everybody through this. And it just didn't seem to happen. And I'll stay with you, Ben, because I think we're going to have to talk about the Tonali goal, because I didn't even celebrate that, because I was absolutely gobsmacked. It's the other side of the ground to where I am, and obviously there's a lot of bodies in that area because the ball comes. I think is it Barnes that plays it down the right, and yeah, just rolls it. Then Tonali just hits it. He just absolutely hits it. He doesn't even look. He just hits at it, and from my angle, it looked like the keeper had just threw it in his own net, and you're thinking, what's going on here? Then. Yeah. Obviously, we'll start seeing the highlights come through on people's phones and that. And honestly, if I'm on the match cam this week, you'll see me not celebrating. You'll just see me staring at Daryl just with an open mouth because honestly, obviously your view would have probably been a bit better than what mine was, mate. But it was one hell of a strike or cross, whatever you.
It was weird because when he hit it, I looked and I thought I didn't know what he did. I thought it hit the side netting at first, but then you see everybody go up that split second where you. Not sure if you scored or you haven't, and you have. And then I was adamant when he did it. I was got flashbacks where Beardsley scored one against Norwich. He a little bit further out, and he scored one for England as well. He used to always be on the grandstand thing when grandstand used to start. Like Beardsley hit one from a ridiculous angle, and it bends and goes in. So I got flashbacks of that. But then I saw where his head was facing, and that's always a bit of a giveaway with a player, like where they're obviously looking to strike through the ball to hit. And he was facing as if he was going to cross it. I was still hanging on to the fact that he meant it. And I heard after the game, first of all, he said it was 70-30, that he 70-30 crossed the shot. And then I think he went and pulled Downey afterwards, didn't he? And said, actually, I'm going to be honest, it was a total cross. And I was like, well, fair enough. It was some cross if it was mine. Because I don't know what he was trying to do to took somebody's head off if they'd have gotten the end of that.
Fair play, because there'll be some footballers come out and they'll be like, no, I meant that. Like, please, I've just hit at it.
Yeah, but as we were saying before, just before we went live there, that he's very nonchalant anyway, and he's very chilled, and he's as you can see from my background, he's the coolest guy ever. So, but yeah, he's definitely a cross. He's not meant that, but he absolutely whacked it. To be fair, if you've all seen the video of the fan video from that corner and the noise it makes when it hits off his foot.
The thud. It's one of the best noises you'll ever hear. Do you know, like on Stephen Carron Breakfast Show, how they say guess the noise, that game? Should just use that noise in like 20 years' time for somebody to go guess that noise. It's Tonali's cross because the thud that makes it is fantastic. It really is. And like we spoke about this before we went live, but that fan photo of him standing on the boards, looking into the fans, and you think, you're absolutely lush, you mate. Like you're literally lush, and you're the best footballer I've ever seen in my life. And people are talking about the likes of keeping Bruno and Isak and things like that. And I don't want to necessarily go down that path tonight, but you look at Tonali, and Tonali is a sensational footballer. I don't think he gets enough credit outside of Newcastle fans. I think he walks into a lot of teams across Europe.
Yeah. I'd said before, I think he's the best in my lifetime that I've seen Newcastle. That's a really big statement, Robert Lee and everybody else. But I genuinely believe he's Italy's best player. He's won Serie A. I think he's in his number 6s. He's probably in the top 3 in the world. I think he's that good. Like he's different class. Every time he plays for Italy, he's their best player. He's been brilliant.
He scored, didn't he? When he was there, he was there on the national. He just scored again.
He can do everything, can't he? He can defend. He's so fast as well. Like I didn't realize when we signed him, like how quick he was. Like he's absolutely rapid. He's good on the ball. Like he's just perfect all around midfielder.
It's his strength
on him as well. He just doesn't stop.
Honestly, it's the strength that he's got, Scott. Like the strength. We saw that at Wembley. We've obviously seen it a few more times this season, but at Wembley, every time he's closing the ball down, he's just muscling a player off the ball and wrestling without causing the foul. And we've seen it. Do you know how Diarmi used to do this quite a bit as well, where he just used to run and nick the ball, and rather than just clatter and play, he just used to nick the ball and then away. Tonali's exactly the same. And like Ben said, he is the perfect midfielder. He's literally got everything in his locker.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's a testament to, you know, picking a player like that to one, obviously to find that type of player, but also to find that type of player and think, right, can he do that in the Premier League? It's a testament to the scouting team and everyone, you know, involved in the club, because you see these type of players, you know, in, you know, the Italian leagues and in the French leagues and all that sort of stuff, but they come to the Premier League and they struggle big time. This guy's got everything, and maybe he's having, you know, I won't say the year out, but the year away from the game to learn the game, to build up his strength, and to spend that year with Howe to get him molded into what he wanted. Magpies was a bit of a blessing in disguise for us, because we've got now this player who was already world class, but he's been able to learn the Premier League and not have that kind of thrown into a chasm of fire almost of, right, you've got to perform week in, week out for us. Because let's be honest, when he first came, there was a lot of questions asked about him because he couldn't perform with Bruno and he couldn't perform that well with her. Yeah, he got a couple of goals in the first couple of games, but we're looking a few games in and people were starting to ask questions whether we've got the right player here.
Was
now,
whether or not him or Bruno can play together. I think that's what the issue was.
Yeah. And now we're thinking, well, can it be without him? Well, can it be without him or Bruno? So, he's yeah. I mean, those three, you arguably looking at the three best players and the three best centre midfielders in the Premier League 100%. In terms of a trio. And we need to keep hold of all three of them for next season, especially if we're going to be playing in Europe as well. We need to build on those three, and they're the three, backbones of our team. And it's the future's bright if we can't keep all three of them. I just, you rub your hands together thinking what we're going to, do next year with those three. If we can keep them all fit, we can keep them all in the squad. Yeah, I cannot wait. It's going to be good.
You know what it is? That's without even looking at an investment, which is apparently coming in the summer as well. That midfield three is fantastic, and obviously you mentioned we've got Isak up top. You've got like a bottom of return as well, and that's without the investment coming in. Obviously, we've heard the rumours that it's going to be a big investment throughout the summer, and that's in a lot of areas in the field. Goalkeeper being one of them, the right hand side of the field being another, and you're thinking, we could create a very, very good team here to challenge for a lot more. But I'm not going to get too excited just yet because the summer's not here. I want to look at the league position at the minute, Nicholas. So that result puts Newcastle United 5th. That's just behind Manchester City by 1 point. So we're currently on 50 points. Man City on 51. Then you've got a bit of a jump to Forest, who are on 57. But Newcastle have a game in hand. We've played 29. And everybody else around us, apart from Chelsea, have played 30. It's ours, isn't it? It's ours to take that because, yes, come on, we've had a great result at Wembley. We'll come back and get another win in the Premier League. If we put on a little bit of a run here, we could sneak ourselves into that third spot, even really.
Definitely, yeah. And I think you guys said it on Monday that we're the team with the momentum after that cup win. Chelsea have had a little bit of a low. Like Palmer's not playing as well this half of the season. I mean, Forest are having a great season. They're flying. Man City have just lost Haaland. They've still got a lot of good players, but they haven't got their main man up front. We are the team to beat, I guess, at the minute. We've had that cup win. Our running is mainly home games between now and the end of the season as well. We've already got, I think we've got 4 away games left.
We've got 5 home games and 4 away. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got that advantage as well, which is definitely an advantage for us with the way we play at home.
If we just look through the fixtures, Ben, that are remaining for us, we've got a bit of a break now. We don't play until Monday night. Which do you know what is that? The way these games have panned out for us the last couple of weeks have been ideal. Like we had that little bit of an extra day, then play on the Wednesday, get the result against Brentford. Now we don't play until Monday night, which is an away fixture to Leicester City. And if you want to play another team, it's probably going to be Leicester because they are stinking the place out at the minute. So you've got a nice little gap there. Then you've got Man U the following Sunday. So you've got another big gap there. But yes, you go down the argument if you want your games coming in quick succession when you're on a bit of a run. But as much preparation going into these games then that's what I want right now. Give the chance to the lads to recover because we don't have a big squad. We know that. Yes, if we look at the game against Leicester, which there will be a preview going on. I think, Scott, you're organising that. So that's coming up. But you've got Gordon to return in there as well. So you've got that option coming back. But if we look at the rest of the game, so just to confirm, we've got Leicester away, Man United at home, which is followed by another home game against Palace, which is midweek again on the Wednesday. You've got Villa away, which is always going to be a tricky one. Ipswich at home, then Brighton away, Chelsea at home. To be fair, Arsenal away. Our away games, apart from Leicester, aren't great, to be honest with you. But you're going up against those teams that you're competing for that fourth, third spot. So bring it on, mate.
Yeah, Villa's got Forest on Saturday, I think 5:30. So one of them are going to drop points there. You look at the rest. Some of the teams are playing. Palace have got their cup semi-final. I think around about when we're playing them as well. So you've got to think, I mean, they just scraped through against Southampton yesterday. So you don't know if they'll be concentrating on other things. Man U is always a big game, isn't it? I mean, you've got to be expecting to win on Monday. You've got Man U after that. If we can win the next 2 games, we're going to be in a really strong position. The probably team I'm worried about most in some ways is Villa, but they've got so many games from now at the end of the season with the PSG games, the Cup semi-final. Like, they've got a massive squad, but and if we win our game in hand as well, we're 5 points ahead of them. So by the time you play them, you'd like to think you could be in a decent position. You know, it's like you said, it's ours to throw away in some ways. The players, it's massive to the players. Listen to you lads on Monday and saying obviously what's more to the players, getting Champions League or whatever else as well. Like, it's a huge motivation for them. If you're Isak, you're Tonali, like, they're desperate to be playing in the Champions League. They're really motivated for it, going the rest of the season. Like, say, they couldn't have really worked out any better. I think the break between the cup finals has been great. Because I hate to play that game a week ago because I thought some of the players weren't really switched on last night. Yeah. And then we've got a little bit of a break again now. If Joe Linton has got a knock, you've seen Trippier had cramp and Isak, but it's Monday night, so that's perfect. Then we've got 6 days from that on Man U, which is a Sunday as well. So couldn't really get any better for it, to be honest. The fixture list, the way they've been panned out, it's been pretty favorable for
after
us.
that Man U game, they come in quick succession, like, because you're looking at a couple of midweek games in there as well. That's when it starts getting busy when you get towards the end of the season.
Pretty sure that Villa game, and someone correct us if I'm wrong in the comments, it either falls directly after the PSG game or directly after the FA Cup semi-final. It's one of the two. So they're going to have their minds on that. It's like it's in between either the 2 legs of the Champions League or the 2 legs of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the middle of one of them. I can't remember which one it is, but like they've got bigger fish to fry when it comes to playing us away in between those two.
Yeah, it's definitely after one of them because it's a 5:30 kickoff on a Saturday. So
I think we're featuring quite a bit now on the likes of broadcasts from now until the end of the season. So we're heavily going to be.
The Chelsea game got moved today, didn't it?
I think it'll continue. Everything will continue to get moved now because obviously that Chelsea game is going to be a big one for the push for Champions League. Then you've got the last game of the season, which is Everton, if I remember right. Everton at home.
Everton at home, yeah.
Yeah, so we could secure a place there, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself. I know I am. We've already got one part of European football secured, but we all know what we want. We want Champions League football, and why not? It's been a fantastic couple of weeks, and I know we've struggled to get momentum throughout the season. Yes, we went through that patch where 9 games that looked fantastic in that 9 games, but before and after that we struggled a little bit. It's been so up and down this season, where sometimes we'll put a great performance and not get the result, or opposite way around. You just need that steady ground now. You just need a decent performance, get the points on the board, continue for that push for the Champions League space. And like I said earlier, I think that's ours for the take. And that I think if we'll graft, everything goes our way. There's no injuries picked up, no silly red cards like Gordon's was so earlier in the season. Then we'll have a little strong push to get that place. I really think. And do you know what is? End of the day, if we don't get it, if we get Europa, thank you very much. It's still an amazing season. Winning the League Cup and getting Europa football is more than I was expecting this season. It really is. Yeah. But I'm getting greedy now. I'm getting unbelievably greedy, and I want Champions League football too. Do you have anything that you would like to say before we end it? Nothing going to mind?
Good.
Sandro, ole.
Perfect. Thanks everybody who has been watching or listening to this one. As always, if you are listening, just give us a 5-star review if you'd like to do so. It helps us out so much. If you're watching on YouTube, just like the video, become a subscriber. It costs you nothing to do that. If you do like this sort of content, along with the rest of the content, which we do, become a member. You get early access to videos and podcasts, and you get access to the Telegram group as well. It is just $2.99 a month to become a member. I will be back on Monday for a live watch-along. So we're going to have a full house for the live watch-along. It's myself, Mark, Decker, and Bestie there. We do have a stopwatch as well. I have bought a stopwatch on Amazon, so let's see if that works. That will go nice on the front of the desk, and it'll stop Mark telling everybody at what point of the game we are. Scott, like I said earlier, you have the match preview for the Leicester game coming up. So that, once again, that will be going out to members first, then everybody else in a few days' time. But yeah, plenty more stuff to come. Plenty more celebrations as well, as we'll bask in the glory of the cup final win and bouncing straight back with another 3 points on the Premier League table. Thanks, everybody. It's been a pleasure as always. What you guys doing? Ta-ra.